Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Free Agents Podcast. Back here today for some more pre-agents closing out the Gauntlet 2. Part 3 here today, covering episodes 13 through 17 and a reunion. We have some winners. We have plenty of drama, all that good stuff to get to. Again, closing out the Gauntlet 2. I am Matt here, as always, with Brian Scally. Scally, how's it going?
Hello. You can bet your booty I'm doing great. I'm good. I'm excited to jump in here and talk about the conclusion of the Gauntlet 2. Talk about, maybe a quit, maybe some heartbreaking resules, maybe some funny results. So
a quit or a lot of quits?
Maybe more than one.
Maybe a couple quits. It is pretty crazy. TJ's first season, his whole thing to this day that we know him to be, and it only gets more pronounced, of course, as the seasons go on, how much TJ hates quitters. And this season, I mean, just to cut right to it, you go from quitters along the way to like an entire group of finalists that technically quit.
Yeah. Maybe this is what like solidified the take, because it did feel like he got more and more angry every single time.
Yeah. So I have to imagine that's what, did it for him. He got here, he showed up, he said, oh, this is kind of stupid. This is annoying. And then, just as it got worse, he was like, you know what? Never again under my watch, or just pay the wrath of TJ. And so many people have and will continue to do so. I gotta say, this third part here made me realize that our normal episode numbering or structure of how we've been breaking it down, like six episodes, and then whatever's left, did us a little dirty here, because part 2 being the entirety of Beth's story would have been ideal, but alas.
Yeah, I think it's okay. I think bringing Beth into part 3 is what Beth deserves. So I am okay with it, though I agree it probably would have made more sense structurally.
Yeah, just like having part 2 be the story of Beth here in the Gauntlet 2, because that's, I think it is the first episode of that last batch that she took over the captaincy from Ruthie. So it, started a whole new, or maybe that episode should have ended the first part to leave us on like a fun little cliffhanger. Whatever. We're here now.
See, at the same time, I kind of like that we're like, in the Beth is the captain, they got to get her out of there. How are they going to figure it out? And we come back and she just quits. Like, yeah, it's kind of funny.
It is pretty funny. And this is something that I definitely knew in the back of my mind happened this season. I remember just the image of Beth standing in this iconic arena telling TJ she wasn't going to participate. She was ready to go. And every time that she got to one of the eliminations that she had been competing in so far, I was like, is this the one? And then she wins both of those, but we finally get to it in episode 13 here. So shall we?
We shall.
Macbeth is the name of the episode. They were waiting to use that.
Oh yeah, I can't believe they haven't used it by now.
I know. Beth is still the hot topic around this Gauntlet house and season. It's just all about how the vets don't trust Beth, and Beth, still feels like she's a good competitor, and she's, just being ganged up on and all of this stuff, and everybody just wants to take her out. Anissa wants someone to take her out, doesn't want it to be her. But we're going to kind of focus in a little bit on Anissa here. Beth is talking about how, in her opinion, Anissa is the weakest player on their team, and the fact that Beth overhears a conversation between Anissa and Julie, and I don't know if anybody else was there or whoever was a part of this conversation on the vet's side of things, talking about Beth, which happens all the time, but Beth just happened to catch this one. And yeah, so she's like, what do you mean Anissa is commenting on me being weak? Have you seen Anissa? Have you watched her compete?
Yeah, Beth comes in and is just like, oh, you should say it to my face. And it's mostly focused towards Anissa, because Anissa's saying someone needs to go in and take out Beth. But did she not catch that Julie was like, Beth is broke. She would do anything to win. She's so like, I feel like Julie was the one really going in.
She did. Yeah. She needs the money. It's like, well, I mean, she's getting a lot of calls to come back to these challenges.
You almost killed someone for $17,000, Julie. Like,
I mean,
actually, that was just the first challenge. It was for like $1,000 when you start splitting it up.
Yeah. Beth is going to go off and get a little emotional about this. Julie herself actually goes up to her to try to comfort her a little bit, which is, kind of funny. But there's that. And Beth is telling Julie that Anissa's lucky that she didn't, bee slap her. There we have it. The tension is set going into this challenge.
And this like epitomizes Julie kind of for me, and where at this point I'm like on such the downslide with her, where she's saying to Beth like, I know it's so hard not having any friends here, like people are just saying this stuff because they're scared to go against you. I was like, you're saying this stuff. You're not her friend. Like, what is this?
Yeah. No, it's definitely I think Ben, when Julie's not, trying to kill people or fight Coral, she is filling this role 10 out of 10 times.
I don't know. She just like came back, in her refound God era, and it's been less entertaining for me.
Yeah. On the rookies side of things, before we get to episode 13's challenge, every single episode, because spoiler alert, Keena and Randy are going to make it all the way to the end of this season together. We check in with them, if not every episode, maybe every other episode, because as they talk about, both of them have to be stressed out on both days, because if there's a men's elimination day, it could be Randy. If it's a female elimination day, it could be Keena going home. They're just so desperate to make it to the end of this game together.
Yeah, I think what it is that Keena and Randy at this point, they're an attractive challenge couple. They're also a challenge couple made up of two of the most recent, if not literally the most recent seasons on MTV, being, San Diego and Road Rules Extreme. So this is like free advertising for all of their other shows, essentially. Like, this is the golden couple. I don't know that they were literally the most popular people on their shows, but at least it was like the coming together of two popular shows at the time. And so I think that it gets even more screen time than it probably needs, but I like them both, so it's okay.
Fair enough. We'll get plenty more check-ins with them over the rest of these episodes. Let's talk about this challenge. Easy does it. You got to get both. You got to get your entire team in pairs. Everybody's got to go up this platform. A ladder hanging over the water. Again, they have this structure to allow them to do challenges over water this season, and I think they use it in 9 out of 10 challenges for the daily missions. But you got to get up. You got to get across the platform up top, and if you happen to fall off or jump off, bad things happen.
Yeah, I thought this was a good challenge. You have 10 minutes per duo to get across, and it is the most volatile teeter-totter. Like, the moment it is unbalanced, it is going to go completely in one direction, which sends people absolutely flying for the most part when they're getting DQ'd, or in Randy's case, he jumps off because he thinks he needs to like go down, and instead of climbing down, he's just going to jump, thinking that like that's fine as long as your other partner has already fallen, but it is not. So there's a couple timeouts here.
Yeah, a couple of, especially some of the women we're talking about, Akina's like, I'm not Stretch Armstrong. These people like can't get their arms over to the point where they need to be able to then pull themselves up, like, with the distance between where their feet are on the ladder and I guess where they can comfortably reach up to grab the rope on the top of the platform. You could tell a lot of them were struggling.
Yeah, I mean, Beth, Anissa, Robin, and Katie, like it is, Keena and Jillian are struggling. There's many duos that are not doing so well.
Yeah, the most humorous part of all of this, I guess, like both storylines that we just talked about tie into this challenge, because when Randy messes up, you have a very pissed off Keena because this is a women's elimination day. And then for the Beth and Anissa of it all, you have Beth who can't get out of the water and then she falls again and then eventually maxes out with the time. And you have Anissa who's calling Beth weak, and vice versa. Anissa also can't get up the ladder.
Yep.
And she falls twice.
Yep. And I think that's the irony, is it's like these two women who are like good at specific things on the challenge, but also really bad at specific things, that are just both trying to throw each other under the bus.
Exactly. It's going to end up being a rookie win here, but not without a little bit of drama at first. The vets thought they had this. They celebrated like they just won the Super Bowl, but they did not win.
Yeah, it's the thing. I think I don't know if it was between the rules of thinking like, oh, Randy jumped, so it's an even bigger disqualification. If it's, oh, we just had our people up faster, and an equal number of teams made it up, but no, they end up losing pretty narrowly, but still losing.
Still a loss, and even more embarrassing because again they were celebrating when they shouldn't have been. But then some of the vets realized actually this is a good thing because it's a women's elimination day, and Beth hopefully will go home today. Beth, as the captain, has to go into the gauntlet, but who against? And it ends up being Anissa that gets selected here. Now remind me, I didn't put this in my own notes. Was it Beth's selection or was this a vote? They always vote,
Oh
right,
no.
on the vets team.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was they voted and basically it was said that we kind of think that Beth is scared of Anissa, so we'll give the best chance of Beth going home. And I wasn't sure if that would end up being the case for many, but I think once the wheel for once didn't land on Captain's Choice and ended up landing on Beach Brawl, I do think that Beth being scared to go up against Anissa in Beach Brawl was more of a factor than it would have been in some of the others.
Again, we are seeing a whole new Anissa from the person that we met in the first two appearances that she's had on the show so far. She loses her mind when Beach Brawl gets pulled. I thought that the wheel must have said competitor's choice or whatever to say, oh, like Anissa gets to pick. But like, no, it automatically went to Beach Brawl, which seems like it would have been what she wanted because Anissa just, wants to use her physical force, strength, and whatnot to take Beth out of the game as dominantly as she possibly can.
Yep.
So,
Yep. And I think that, look, she was probably going to, but when we get to the arena to go ahead or to the gauntlet to do the elimination, Beth says that oiling up your body and wrestling is low class and she's not going to do it.
nope. She's good. As she, says to the team, Anissa's going to make a great team captain, which is another point that she kept, hammering home of like, if you all want, you sent Anissa down here, which clearly means that you want her to take me out and you want her to be your captain. And she's talking about how Anissa like smokes cigarettes and has asthma. And she's like, if you guys want that person to be your captain, feel free. By all means, be my guest.
Which she does mention in the reunion. She's like, "Oh, I quit because I wanted to stick them with Anissa, not because I wanted to go home," which is interesting. I don't know if I necessarily believe her, but I do have the question of if this happened on All Stars today, does Beth oil up and wrestle?
Yes.
100%. I think Beth is not thinking it's too low class in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, different situation of like, at this point today, I don't know if we're going to get these big team challenges where she's really feeling the weight of like everybody hating her and wanting her to go. So a little bit of different circumstances, but either way, she's going to take every moment she possibly can, even if it embarrasses herself to this day, because the moments matter so much more now.
Yeah, very much the case, but TJ is pissed.
Yep.
Just, what are you still doing here, Beth? Get out of my sand. I told you to leave weeks ago when all of the other quitters were quitting. Why the hell are you still here? Get out.
Yep. TJ's pissed. The vets are thrilled. The witch is gone. They're so happy. We get a whole joint confessional from half of the vets team. It was Mark, Katie, Julie, Brad, Derek, and Anissa, who all together yell out, "Thanks for nothing," directed at Beth.
Again, I'm sure that there were other people that were also doing this, but after the elimination, Beth is talking to Julie like, "Good luck with your new captain." They're like seeming to commiserate a tiny bit, and then Julie's like, "Thanks for nothing, Beth. I hate you." It's like, what? I've been out on Julie for a while, but I am even more so as a TV personality when like, I don't know, if you're gonna be mean, be mean.
Right. This is not too dissimilar from like the Julie and Tanya dynamic, I think, last season.
Yeah.
Little similar. Beth is gone. She's done here. We're not done with Beth by any means. She still has 2 more seasons to go in the flagship version before All Stars begins. The next of which is going to be in 2 seasons from now. But just all around, I guess, hard to use a word other than impressive for the fact that this woman shows up, is out so quickly, quits the game, and production is still like, gotta do more, gotta have her back.
I mean, look, she's bringing content for while she's there, regardless of the number of episodes. And I think that is a lot more than you can say for many people.
Yes. Yep, 100%. So that's the story for Beth. She took over the captaincy, not really intentionally, but to stay in the game. Sends home a couple people, Montana and Ruthie included there, and then it's like, I'm good. I'm enough of these bullies trying to get rid of me. No, I'm just gonna go myself. So Beth
Yeah, that's
is
Beth.
off. But let's keep on moving here. As we get into the next episode, this Jody and Alton situation is still going on. They're still vibing, hoping to build something out of all of this. Jody's going to talk to her Road Rules Extreme girls about how she doesn't want to be the transition girl for Alton coming out of this last relationship he keeps talking about, of course. And she's going to eventually just ask him, am I the transition girl?
And he's like, yeah, you are. you are actually. It's a good thing you asked, because we are not talking outside of this. You're cool, we'll be friends, but like dating, no, not happening.
Yeah, he says, as long as you don't act like a weirdo. A lot of these women they act like weirdos.
Yeah. Oh, the 2000s.
And she's like, oh no, I'm normal. I'm gonna be a normal, good friend of yours. When we get to the reunion, did they spend much time on this? Obviously they were not together, but
no. There was more talk of maybe a different hookup with Alton.
Yeah, we'll get to that. The challenge in this episode is the pit, which I thought was a pretty fun, interesting concept. You're stuck at the bottom of a pit, basically inside this like square box that's I don't know, triple the size of a normal human's height. Yeah, that's the word, not length. And yeah, you gotta get the whole team out plus a variety of like photo booth props.
Yeah, that's for me. I kind of don't understand the props being there when they're all completely useless. I think that it would have been maybe more interesting if it was taller with useful props. Just climbing on each other's shoulders is not all that different from some other stuff we've seen. So it's a fine challenge, but I think had it been higher with useful things, it would have been more interesting.
You think either any of the captains here were going to take some good advantage of this final scratch DJ package that they got?
Ooh, I actually think that pretty much all of them had aspirations of being a DJ at the time. Yeah. So I do think that this could do good work for them. They're already making tons of club appearances. If you bring up a second set of skills, diversify your portfolio, you're only going to make yourself more valuable.
Mm-hmm. Randy's going to end up sitting out of this challenge for a reason that's going to come up again in like another episode or two, or maybe this one. I don't remember. Randy is seen by the rest of the group as bigger than the rest of them. And specifically at one point, Alton makes it sound like Randy is like just a bigger person and not like as skinny as he is.
He calls him chubby.
I'm like, he might have used a specific word that I'm not remembering. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to think.
2000s body images.
Oh my
God. I mean, it is a fact that Randy weighs 10 more pounds than the next biggest man on their team. So like, yeah, that's fine. That like whatever. But Alton being like, well, I don't know if he can run. He's kind of chubby. It's like, okay, well, I feel like Randy has given literally no indication that that's going to be an issue. And apparently Randy is this like genius that they cannot lose on their team, according to Kina and Ibis. So I think that Randy gets a time to shine later, but it makes sense to sit him out in some of the challenges. I guess in here, as being like the last person in, it would be difficult for him to get out.
I guess so. He's just so big and heavy. Like this man, like, okay, maybe he doesn't have like the 7,000 pack that Alton has, but like
that's exactly what I think it is I think that you look at this rookie cast of men and it's like, oh, they are so jacked. If you put Randy on the vets team, he's the strongest man there. Like basically, like
Mark would like to have a word with you.
Okay, but you know what I mean? Like he is much stronger than the weakest man on the vets team.
The rookies go first, and so the vets have, like 30 extra minutes off to the side. They're sequestered away so they can't watch and, take anyone's strategy. The rookies are going to go first, and, pretty simple idea right off the bat. Use your bodies as human ladders, and it's working pretty well. They get 8 out of their 9 players out. They just need to get Landon, and of course, when you get to this type of situation, this happens in like survivor challenges too. Whether there's like a rope or something, you form a human ladder from the other way around to pull the player up. But like you're talking about, the different props that they had and completely useless tools were not going to get them anywhere. It had to be by another human being helping that Landon was going to get up.
I think that the tools were just to waste time.
Yes.
Like, I'm sorry, a pool noodle and pantyhose. Like,
And
what
tape.
were we
Yeah.
supposed to do?
They're like, taping the noodles together, holding them down so that you can jump and grab onto them. And then, it goes absolutely nowhere. But this is a little fun because it ends on a cliffhanger for us where Alton is going to like put himself halfway back down using his upper body strength to hold himself up. Because if he drops back down, the team loses.
Yep.
That's just one of the rules. And they leave us on a cliffhanger. We watch the rookies standing by as the vets all go to compete, and Derek is giving a confessional like, wow, they don't look like they made it, but they're not telling us what happened, of course, for the intense reveal at the end of what happens, because then the vets go.
Yeah, I mean the old school editing of like, well, the rookies definitely lost. I was like, okay, so the rookies won, but they make an attempt at least to hide it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the vets, they use a more than a human ladder. They use some cheerleading techniques, which seem to be pretty effective as well. But instead of Landon for them, it's Timmy that's the last one down there. Mark tries to get himself to help Timmy, and it doesn't work because they're trying also to really use the props in these final minutes, like taping the yoga ball to Timmy's feet while he stands on it, and then he was going to pull it up and pull himself up. They ran out of time. Didn't work.
Yeah, I love it. He's like, and then you'll pull the yoga ball up with me. Like, yeah, duh. Like, I don't think that needed to be said, but sure.
Disaster. But the rookies did successfully get all of their players up. Landon found a way to not only just use Alton to get up there, but like he's like stepping on the wood of the wall, which pretty good.
Alton is such a good climber that he like positions himself in a way that it makes like footholds for Landon to climb up the wall. It was very impressive.
Very much so. We don't get a lot of Landon throughout this season, even though he makes it all the way to the end. But still seeing the impressiveness of his abilities.
That is true.
So Derek, as the losing captain, is of course going into elimination this time around. Derek's talking about that Timmy looked a little weak today, I guess because Timmy was, the one who couldn't get up there. But Brad or Timmy or David, who's it going to be? Brad gets the nod.
I mean, I think this just comes down to New Kid on the Block. Like, same thing. Brad swore never again. Battle of the Sexes 2 was not going to happen, where all of the OGs just vote him in because he's the new guy. And then he gets voted in because he's the new guy by all the OGs.
Yeah. And not only is it the same thing all over again with getting into this elimination, but it's the same thing all over again with him getting eliminated from the game before another final. He doesn't make it to the end of the game again. He loses Name That Coconut here to Derek by a score of 5-2.
Yeah. And this is for me where it's just like Derek is dominating these eliminations. This is 4 in a row that he wins. He gets thrown in as like, oh, he's going to be a problem on our team. We're done with Derek. He's so annoying to the point where it's like, we can't lose Derek. Thank God Derek's here and winning all of these eliminations.
Yeah. Brad's done. He, of course, he's Brad. He's not going anywhere. He'll be back. I think he gets next season off before he is going to be back for no, sorry. Well, he has next season off, but he did just do 3 in a row, which, is not super common for the newbies, but Derek has as well. Derek is not getting any seasons off, but Brad does. I just wasn't expecting Brad's story to end here. Again, I'm trying to forget as much as possible, and so I was like thinking he made it to the end of this one. But the more I'm remembering, the more I'm like, oh yeah, when Brad does finally make it to a final, I feel like it's a big moment for him.
Yeah, Brad. It's funny because you would think like pretty good competitor. They are very sad to lose Brad, being like this is someone who would be super helpful in the end. And unfortunately, we're saying goodbye. But he's not pulling through as much as you think he is or should.
Nope, he's not. Which was the Brad hookup that was discussed at the reunion, or a crush on Brad? Was it?
I'm trying to think.
It was Kara maybe, that because they were talking about the alliance, which we'll talk about that and how they debriefed it. But I think that's what she was. Was it her?
I did not catch that there was a little crush there, but you know what? I would not ship it, but allow it to happen one time.
Brad at the reunion with the sideways hat, baseball cap.
Yeah, yeah, that's so Brad. He would
So
still wear his hat
2000s,
like that.
probably. Yeah. Well, we'll get to get to that shortly. Episode 15. The next challenge up is going to be blind trust.
Blind trust, where they have to walk across a balance beam, collecting pictures hung on a wire the whole way. And after the first person, you will have to wear a blindfold. That will be where the person before you will direct you across the bridge.
Yeah. And the winning captain gets a trip to Fiji. Well, look at that. What a
Ooh.
popular place to go for reality TV contestants, at least today. Yeah. So there's the speed bumps on the balance beam, so you can't just like run across it. There, you're gonna stub your toe, I guess, or trip or fall. But am I remembering correctly? I don't think anybody fell
No,
on
no
either
one
team.
fell. Good time. There were some people that, gave better directions than others. I think that Jillian was highlighted as someone who maybe struggled a little bit, but I think in general, most people did pretty well. It was funny that Kina had Jody sit out. I wonder if that's because Jody is seen as a little frantic, or because it's like, I need all of the available options of people I will go into elimination against, and I'm not going against Jody.
Yeah,
So
no, that's I think that's exactly what she said it was. I don't know if we ever heard that it's like if you sit out, you're ineligible to compete in the
yeah, it's said
elimination.
every time.
Is that an official rule or just like
TJ said it every time.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, that is obviously going to make sense for Jody to sit out because they want Jody at the end.
Yep. Yeah, TJ, it's a thing on this season where if you sit out the elimination, you will be ineligible. Remember, it was the big argument between Montana and Beth, who gets to sit out.
Yes. But well, so you're saying the TJ says that every time. I'm usually
Yes.
like rushing to write down the notes of
Yes.
what the challenge itself has to do with.
Yep.
So again, I
Makes
wasn't
sense.
sure if the group had determined that either way. Yeah, Jody is not going to be a part of the challenge, obviously, or the elimination itself. We end up getting a vet win here. It was not looking great for them. Some bad weather was rolling in. Katie wasn't doing great as a coach, but then eventually Robin does pretty well because good old Mark was guiding her and she was happy to follow his voice.
Yeah.
And
Whereas
all was
we
well.
find out Robin does not know her left from her right and keeps giving wrong directions there, but
Yeah.
still pulls through. All of the veteran women are going to the final. This locks it in. But now Kina is distraught.
She doesn't know what to do with herself. Now, this is the point where I'm starting to wish that the episodes might have been a little longer, because did you have a clear understanding of why Susie was like totally not an option for them anymore?
I think it's that for Kina, the option was, do I do what's good for the team, which is throw my best friend in and also potentially get beat by my best friend who is better set up to beat me in a good number of eliminations, or do I prioritize my own safety in the game, throw in the person that I think I can most likely beat? And neither of those options were Susie. So it's like Susie is a decent competitor, where like a decent enough competitor where the team doesn't want her in, and also Kina doesn't want to face her in an elimination. So good luck, Susie. You're going to the final.
Yeah, Susie was definitely nervous, as she literally says herself, that she thought that there was a world she was going to go in, but no, it ends up being Jillian that she thinks that she can beat. Kina thinks she can beat Jillian in most gauntlets, and of course, on the rookie side of things, the captain's going to decide who they are going down there with. So that's it. Like you said, Kina was stressed as hell. Jody had to calm her down. It was a whole ordeal to get to this, but it is going to be Kina versus Jillian in a sticky situation in the gauntlet.
Yeah, and Kina and Jillian never overlapped on their Road Rules season, so like they're not particularly close, but it is still funny where Kina is in the bathroom like crying, sniveling, like, I can't go against my best friend, I don't want to do it, like just screaming her head off and like hysterical. And then it's like, but I will throw in the other woman from my season, like Jillian, who I have been in multiple scenes with over the season. Like, get out of here.
It was Jillian and Kina that were, discussing and debating the drama of the supposed alliance. And, they were looking like a locked in duo at that point when the information was being shared, and feeling really strong about their team and sharing that information with the team. But Kina said self-preservation. Sorry.
It's true. It's true. And we get the only elimination that we have not seen yet this season.
Yeah. And I'm watching it at the beginning. I'm like, okay, so more like instead of covering ourselves with oil, it's going to be like honey or something. It's called sticky situation. And then like the game starts and I'm like, wait, what part of this is sticky? I thought that they had to throw a ball through the wall, but eventually I realized the ball just is like Velcro and needs to be stuck to the wall. That is the sticky situation.
Yep. And you would think that Kina and Jillian would be fairly well matched in this. Jillian's not a bad competitor by any means, but Kina makes her eat sand quite a few times.
Yeah, Timmy makes a comment after Jillian is officially the loser of this elimination, saying this is going to hurt the rookies because Jillian is a great runner and athlete. You would not, I guess, totally, or I guess I should say I would not have assumed that just from the idea that Kina picked Jillian to go into this elimination. I'm thinking, oh, clearly she's perceived as the weakest on this team, even though Ibis is also talked specifically about a lot as being a weaker competitor on their team. But she picked Jillian just specifically thinking that these games that they've seen so far, that she could outmaneuver her in most of them. But
yeah,
this one included.
Yeah. It just is what it is. It honestly doesn't make me think less of Jillian as a competitor. It just makes me think higher of Kina, who is a fairly small in stature person, and yet is just absolutely one of the most physical people on their team, just wrestling Jillian to the ground. Like I said, like putting like a knee in the back of her head, basically. Yeah. Like Kina will do anything to stay here.
She's got to get back to Randy, and she does. So, they're not kidding when they say this is like nothing is more important than keeping them both in the game together. Am I going to be a little bit more aware or impressed with Jillian when we see her again? Do you remember? She has 2 more seasons.
Yes.
Okay.
Jillian has such an interesting challenge career where she takes like multiple seasons off and then comes back, multiple seasons off and then comes back, to my recollection, and she looks fairly different every time. So I am very curious to watch the progression of Jillian, because in my mind, I know it's all the same person, but I also kind of think of it as different people.
Fair. Well, I'll just have to remember who she is when 4 seasons from now she's back for her second of 3 seasons. So yes. We'll keep an eye out.
I did think she delivered a good quote where she's like, I'm looking forward to playing defense because it's one of my specialties. Like, what? Defense is your specialty? Okay, sure.
I mean, she played defense against the Alliance.
Maybe she was like a soccer player, and that's, like, I played defense, but I don't think that's like an exact translation, Jillian.
Not quite. MJ was also annoyed that Jillian went home, and that specifically Ibis was still there, saying he wanted Kina to have to carry Ibis through the final challenge because she specifically was the one that decided that Ibis should stay and Jillian should go. So drama.
Yeah, we've been gearing up for these finals being much more about running than they used to be in the past, and I think that a lot of people were thinking that is just exactly what it's going to be here. And so people were looking at Ibis as likely the weakest runner on the team and just really counting themselves out once they knew she was going to the end.
If they only knew what was to come with this final. Well, we're getting closer to it. Episode 16 kicks off with a conversation we had already kind of touched on from Kina and Alton discussing our 2 captains here, that, if it's another men's elimination day, the final one here, and if Alton has to go in again, it's going to be Randy, because he is the quote biggest and chunkiest, strong but the least athletic.
Yeah, it's an interesting move. I'm not super shocked because, again, you look at the other guys on the team, it's like Landon's really, really good, MJ's really good, Jamie's really good. So Randy being, very good is not quite that same level, but here's what it is.
Yeah. Lots of partying, lots of cookie making over on the vets team. Of course, as you mentioned a couple minutes ago, all of the vet women are safe through to the end now. They've all made the final. They're very happy. They're making cookies for the whole team. Timmy says they taste like love. This team is riding high, but we do still have one more elimination to get to.
Yeah, they've been friends for like a decade at this point. Like, so many of them have just kept coming back to the show, and it is, they're feeling on top. They got their winners. It would be such a shame if Derek went home, everyone says.
Let's talk about it. It truly feels like a funeral here. Derek Kaczynski, the next one to be eliminated. Let's talk about how we get there, because this season has been Derek takes over the captaincy by beating Adam right off the bat. This whole thing at this first deliberation of I want us all to say everything to each other's faces, and then kind of does tone down a little bit and gets a little meshed in with the team to this point where they all want him to be safe and make it to the end.
Yeah. Everyone has completely done a 180. He is one of the most valuable members of their team, whereas they thought he was going to be the biggest problem at the beginning. And I think there still are signs of those issues with Derek, particularly when we get to the deliberation. But overall, he's such a good competitor that we're not really thinking about those anymore.
Yeah, deliberation was insane. Before we get there, of course, we have this bike challenge. It's called Piece by Piece. Some TJ Lavin sponsorship coming in. Look at that. There's a Schwinn TJ Lavin signature series BMX bike. I'm sure you had one of these. We all did, right?
Definitely remember these existed.
Yeah. So, the hottest bike in town right now. The challenge itself is the team. You have to take apart the bike, put it back together, and then ride it to the finish line. You get split into two groups, the disassemblers and then the assemblers. There's a walkie-talkie that will allow the assemblers and disassemblers to communicate on how to put it back together, or if you're Alton, just play around with the walkie-talkie and make jokes. But hey, why not? And one of the winning captains, of course, is going to win one of the bikes.
Yeah, look at that. Now, when I hear on the rookies team that Randy and Jamie both used to work on bikes, I was like, oh, well, this is over. This is definitely over because, yeah, you could figure this out, but not against someone who has done this many, many times.
Yes, exactly. And funny enough, just we're sitting here underestimating Randy and how he's likely to go in. We give him just this final little bit of real cheering him on as he's counted out, maybe going to go into elimination. But he is along with Jamie, I guess, but single-handedly TJ is calling Randy out when the rookies win, saying, "Randy, you did it. Good job."
Yep.
Drama on the other team while this is all happening. While Randy is celebrating and doing good things, Derek's a little pissed off at one of his fellow guys on his team. Your boy, David. Our boy at this point, yes. David. not moving fast enough.
Look, he's just doing a nice little jog over to the bike, and Derek is pissed. Derek's competitive spirit has you sprinting at all times. If you were doing less than anything than 100% at all moments, that's a huge problem for Derek, where he is going to literally just break furniture because he's so mad about it.
Yeah, this gets insane. We are going to end up seeing Derek, really want to face David in this final elimination because of the fact that David didn't seem to care much today, that by losing and by running, or I should say jogging in Derek's opinion, by moving not fast enough, he was putting Derek's game in jeopardy. And so Derek says, well, if you're putting my game in jeopardy, I'm putting yours in. Let's go into elimination. David's laughing at the idea of this, saying, I will send him home in every single elimination. Would have liked to see that matchup. It's not the one we're going to get. But during this whole deliberation, you have your Katie's and Anissa's who aren't voting at first because they don't want to stab Derek in the back by voting against the way that he wants them to vote. It's going to end up being David versus Timmy as far as where we're putting our votes on. It ties the first time with these two people not voting, ties again, and we don't know what to do. Of course, generally you would think, what does the captain want? But there's so many voices, so many people speaking up and unsure where to go with this, that it causes such turmoil, and Derek takes it out on a poor coffee table.
Yeah, that coffee table gets destroyed. He is just kicking the legs out from under it. He is basically going to do the people's elbow onto this coffee table and just absolutely destroy it. It's a tough watch for sure. But at the same time, it's this was mild for what was happening on reality TV at the time. So didn't really raise a ton of red flags, I feel with people at this moment. Derek is literally kicking, giant shards of wood around the room in people's faces, and they're just not reacting.
Yeah, it's not Derek's best moment by any means. And I also don't love. Say again.
It's not his worst either.
It's not his worst. It's not his best. I just don't love the way that when he's having this temper tantrum, everybody's TJ especially comes in and he's well, Derek, like, I don't want to make this any harder on you. You spin the wheel, so I'm not in control of your fate. Like, kind of like babying him and like giving him the benefit of the doubt for having this adult temper tantrum. Like,
I mean, this is reality TV back then. This wasn't seen as an issue. There was no such thing as toxic masculinity. Like, and to a point, like, Timmy, when he's frustrated, is like kicking the side of the pit or like hitting the gauntlet, mast. So I think hitting a wall was a much more common thing back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mark slams like the roof of the bus or whatever when he's trying to get out of there, and all that stuff. But yeah, Derek is like begging the team for some input. Come on, like, someone give me something. But eventually it is going to be Timmy, that from the very beginning of this was basically begging to be Timmy begging to be thrown in to this elimination. He was like thinking that he was going to be the one selected regardless, so he was already mentally prepared to go in. But then when Derek is like, no, Timmy, like, sit down, I want it to be David, then Timmy does sit back down. But when they can't come to a decision, Timmy's like, I'm already ready to go into this elimination, just let me be the one. And eventually that is what happens.
He's like, we all let Ace volunteer, and Derek's like, no, I wanted to talk it out in public at the beginning, and we've always done this vote. We're doing the stupid vote because I want David.
Yes. Would David have also sent Derek home?
In this competition and reverse tug of war? Absolutely. Yeah, David, they cut to David shirtless at one point, and I was like, oh yeah, that would have been not a good matchup for Derek. But at the same time, like, Brad looks very similar, so you never know in some of them. I think Derek maybe could have managed had it been a name that coconut, especially, like, I don't feel like David is the quickest thinker all the times. But not that he's dumb. I think he is smart. I just think he generally is I don't know, not Derek. And then, because I wouldn't say Derek is the smartest either. So what?
He beat Brad.
Yeah, through will. But I don't know. I think that David is probably a worse matchup for Derek. Timmy barely, like, outweighs him for sure, but not by as much as David would. And he still is, a tough matchup for Derek.
Right. Timmy says if he goes home, it wouldn't even bother him. He doesn't believe in this team right now.
Yeah, basically, like, the team is so toxic, and it's like, it's such a bad spot that going home might actually be a better option.
Yeah. We're going to get to this final gauntlet. Derek versus Timmy, reverse tug of war. It is not a fun sight, not a fun scene. Nobody is happy when this is all said and done. Not even the person who wins the elimination and is going to get to continue on in the game for a lot of money. Everybody is sad.
Yeah, it's hard because at this time, like, I am definitely a Derek guy, but Timmy is, like, very, very close. And now, especially on the rewatch, I'm like, we got so much Derek to go. So I want to, like, savor Timmy while I can. And so it is not a fun elimination matchup. It's definitely tough to watch, especially given the context that Derek really does, like, pretty much dominate this season, especially in those eliminations. 4-0 up until this point is a very, very good record. If he had won, he would have tied Sarah Grayson's record, right, of 5-0. So to see him lose here it sucks.
Yeah, and it's happening when, we're really getting all this setup of, like, Derek throughout this whole season, sent home Adam and Ace and Cyrus. Can he get this one last one in? He's persevered the whole season and been a great team captain. But no, it's very quickly fair how fast Timmy gets the flag. I mean, Derek obviously
at least pretty quickly.
Yeah, Derek of course puts in the typical Derek fight that he will, but he just does not have the size on Timmy. Timmy gets the flag. He's got the size and the weight, and Derek is eliminated, just laying there devastated. You see, like, all of, like, the other extreme cast members that are just also heartbroken. They come over and give him hugs, and they're best wishes. TJ's giving Derek, his best possible condolences. Tinkly piano music is playing. It's just sad.
Yeah, to the point where we had to bring this into a cliffhanger into episode 17 because it was just like, this was the season. As far as I remember, and maybe that's just me watching, having been a Derek fan at the time, having been a Derek fan, I would say that this season felt like it was all about Derek for a large part of it. And now to see him fall right at this final hurdle does suck. The entire Vets team looks like they're feeling so incredibly low. I did like that Derek, however, was telling Timmy, like, pick your head up. Why's your head down? You won, like, fair and square. This was a challenge, and like, I lost. That's what it was.
The entire elimination, Katie was just sitting on the sidelines drinking a whole beer, and I thought that was kind of funny.
I love Katie.
Another person who just does not exist in this season, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I saw her there drinking a beer.
She was there.
She was there. There was also a scene. Was it the bonus clip or something that they find like this gigantic pair of underwear? They call it Beth's underwear.
It was during the like preparation for the final, I think.
Yeah.
And was it Timmy who's like looking through the room? He finds, I truly don't know whose underwear this could have been or what it was. Like it looked like the sail of a boat. Like it was quite a large pair of underwear. And Timmy's like, "Oh, Beth left her bloomers here."
I mean, there's just like no chance that actually belonged to someone that they wore on their body. Like that was giving like, gag gift at a party.
Yeah, like exactly.
So that's that. But let's get into another gag.
I think
here.
The joke was not that Beth was big, just that like they were frumpy.
And yeah, like, the term granny panties or
exactly
that type of vibe. Let's get to the final. This absolutely ridiculous final. We are going to the Gauntlet to kick things off and probably to spend the entire time here. If the whole final was run, who knows? But let's talk about it.
It's going to be 3 different challenges where they will bet doubloons on these challenges. They have 250 total doubloons. They have to bet at least one on each competition. The 3 competitions being an eating portion where they have to eat 12 pounds of roti. They have to also compete in a memory competition. And then they finish it out with a sand sprint. Every challenge has to have at least one of your team members on it and has to have at least one doubloon bet on it. But otherwise, this is completely up to you.
So yeah, this is all about where they place their bets. I don't know, who had this idea in the production meeting to say, let's not have a typical final. Let's make, a strategic element to it. Not going to be the last time that we do something different in a final like this, but boy, did this experiment not go as I imagine they were hoping for it to. The rookies are going to place their bets first, as far as we're told about it. And they decide to split everybody up with 4 people on the eating portion, and they place 1 chip on it. Randy, Jamie, Ibis, and Jody are going to be their eaters. Susie and Keena are going to do the memory challenge, and they place 1 chip there. And then Landon, Alton, and MJ are going to do the relay race at the end, and they put 248 of 250 chips there. The Vets, yes.
I wonder if there would have been a way in which it could be like, winning a competition is also worth a certain number of doubloons outright so that it could like offset a bad bet. But yeah. What the Vets do?
The Vets are going to have a lot of people on the eating portion, as well as a lot of chips. They put their entire, because they have to put at least 1 chip on each portion. So that's why both teams, decide, of course, to go all in for what the maximum that they can. 248 out of 250 chips. On the eating portion here, Timmy, Robin, Mark, Julie, and David are their eaters. If they can get to it, Katie's going to be their one person doing the memory. And if they can get to it after that, Anissa is the one person doing a relay race in theory against Landon, Alton, and MJ.
And I think both teams recognized that the rookies were far better set up for the relay. Like Landon, Alton, MJ beat every single person on this cast. Like those are the 3 best probably sprinters in the house. So I think there was basically no reason to bet a single thing there. Like if you look at like Timmy, Robin, Mark, Julie, David, like no one's beating them in a sprint. So okay, bet nothing there. Memory, can we do memory? Is that possible? Is it a toss-up? We don't know. So they think, let's load up everything on eating. We know we can eat. We know we can put more bodies on this than them. And, it seems like it would be a halfway decent strategy.
Yeah, until it doesn't work. Before we even get into this, just to like bring this all the way back to where we are today, I have a hard time not tracking along the way what would have been Anissa's best chance at a challenge win. We talk about later years that maybe being partnered with Jordan is one of the best chances she'll ever have. But being on this team in this final, in this format, Probably in the top 3 best
Pretty
chances.
high up there. Now, my problem with their strategy is even if they are to win the eating competition, let's say, so they have the extra body, they win this eating competition. Now, it comes, and then we presume the rookies are going to win the sprinting automatically. It still comes down to a total of 2 chips. Who wins the memory competition between Susie and Kina versus Katie? I think they miscalculated this.
Go on.
I don't think Katie is beating the combination of 2 people there. Katie gets a little frazzled. And I am not saying she's a bad competitor because I do think that Katie has her merits as a competitor in this era of the challenge. But I think they went so all in on this first challenge, they forgot to think about what if the other team does the same and we're essentially forfeiting the second 2 challenges.
Yeah. Well, because I guess they were assuming that they would get the win on the eating, they would lose the relay, and then they were putting all their hopes on Katie in the memory.
I think what it is that they were thinking the rookies would not bet like 248,000 on everything. They'd be like, oh, the rookies are dumb, they're gonna bet 100,000 here, we'll win 100,000, done. But when they put only 1 chip on it, well, you won nothing.
Right.
Like, yeah, you kept your 248, but you didn't really get anything, so you're still gonna lose 251 to 249.
Yeah, no, it was, I would say, unless I'm like really missing some aspect of their strategic planning here, I thought it was pretty all around poor planning.
Yeah.
I think you've, given them a little bit more credit when you bring up the fact that, Landon, Alt, and MJ, were guaranteed to do well in the relay. And so, not worrying about that portion as much makes sense, but just still didn't feel like the way to try to win here.
I get it, but I kind of think that we needed to balance it out between the other 2. Like, I think you still need to win 2 out of 3. And so going all in on 1 is the bigger problem than which one they chose not to go in on.
Right. So this could have been a problem, you're saying, for the rookies as well, going all in, but it just didn't fall that way.
In theory, they had a competition that was more of a layup for them.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the eating portion. We are going to see the both teams finish around the same time. But as the vets are declared the winners, you have all of the rookies looking over and they see one Julie still has food in her mouth. TJ says he has to check the tapes because I guess by this point, Julie maybe has swallowed all the food. But when he comes back and checks the tapes, yes, Julie still had food in her mouth. And TJ says that the rookies were all done and nobody was still chewing 15 seconds prior to that.
Yeah, everyone is going absolutely nuts. Kina's in full demon mode, being like, we won! Like, oh my God, Kina, okay. Yeah, they are very insistent because it's so close, even though the rookies are down a player, only having 4 eaters as compared to the 5 on the vets team. They absolutely body this challenge in a way that was extremely impressive, considering Julie's still chewing. Robin is running over to the side to throw up. We do hear Timmy in the reunion potentially say that he was eating the vomit out of Julie's hands.
Yep.
So that wasn't great, but
disgusting. Mark is very funny here, where he's basically saying that like a lot of them tried to cheat, but Julie didn't do it well enough. He's like, they turned away from the cameras, but Julie didn't, so they saw her mouth still, or turned away from like the other team, to the point where because they still saw Julie, with like chipmunk mouth filled with food, they were like, they caught us essentially. And
like, Robin, you did the right thing by running over and throwing up. It's that stupid Julie for standing in front of the camera. You were right. Go cheat on the side.
Exactly. And this is going to prompt the vets team, once they officially have lost this part of the challenge that they bet 248 out of 500, 250 chips on. They say we can't win, and they throw in the towel. They say it's done. There's nothing we can do, and they congratulate the rookies. And again, TJ now has 7 more quitters on his hands, but no, not. Look, they truly couldn't have won, right?
There's literally 0 shot. Like, the way that they stacked this, there's literally no way. So I kind of like this better narratively than had they tried. Like, that would have been not fun to watch and kind of depressing. So this being like the old guard of the challenge, passing things to the rookies, like, congratulations, it's yours now. And I know they're talking about the season of the challenge, the final challenge, but It's kind of the franchise as a whole. We lose a lot of these people forever.
Yeah, just I'm blown away that you have some people on this rookies team that I obviously can't say that they did nothing on the season to get a win here, but in this final, Susie, Kina, Alton, MJ did not
Didn't even have to
participate.
compete.
Didn't have to compete, and they are now challenge champions. Landon gets a second championship, but I do
Yep.
believe that the other four, first championship, and they didn't move a muscle in the final.
Yeah, I would say that there's certain people that are a bigger part of that. Like Kina had to win a lot of eliminations at least to get here, so I look
Of
at that
course.
as a more legitimate championship. And the thing is, they would have still dominated their portions had they
Mhm.
gotten to do it. Susie's very good on memory, and again, it's 2 people to 1, so I have no doubt that they would have won. But it is funny to be like, well, and does this elimination win for Anissa count? Does this finals win for these people count? Like, there's a couple of quits here that are padding some stats.
Kind of crazy all around. The rookies, as our winners here, do win $240,000 divided by the 9 players that they have left. The vets win $60,000 without the final prize, of course, because they didn't win that, divided by the 7 players they have left. So everyone's walking away with a little bit of something. And just to say all of the names here on this rookie winning team: Alton, Ebis, Jamie Murray with his 3rd win, Jody, Kina, Landon, MJ, Randy, and Susie are all the winners of the Gauntlet 2.
Look, you know that I am an advocate for like we need more winners on the challenge. I feel like in this modern era, we have 2 winners per season and 70 like 5 newbies that have never even made a final. So I am enjoying looking back, seeing all of these people that I remember fondly. Like, yeah, they won their challenge. Like, good for them.
It's just insane. Again, these people that didn't do anything at all in the final. And yes, Kina, Alton, yes, they worked their ass off all season. Susie played a lot of the political game, whether, we're talking
Good
about
or
the
bad.
details of it at all. Yeah, like, yeah. And then who was the other person? MJ, strong player on the team,
Yeah.
but still just insane. And
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I love Susie being like, I hope the rookies have a special bond and will all remain friends outside of this. It's like, okay, Susie.
Yeah, that's Susie. That sounds right. Let me give you the updates on all of these players and when we will see them again. I like to run through these numbers and stuff. Over on the losing side of things, the vets, Mark Long, does have 2 more challenges, but the next one is 6 seasons away. Scally, he makes a official announcement, though, at the reunion that he's retired.
He's retired. This is our first, I feel like, most official challenge retirement on the show that is just walked back almost immediately, like very quickly on the show. I did think it was a cute moment when he passes his bandana from the first road ruler to the last, and Derek, like, carry the torch, and Derek says, to 60 more years of the challenge. And I say, yeah, basically.
Yeah. Definitely crazy, the idea that Mark is going to be gone for so long, but hey, Veronica's currently gone for that long. These legends weren't going to keep going forever. And Mark, of course, we've talked about, had a pretty blossoming career outside of the show, in the entertainment world. And, maybe that's calmed down a little bit, but who knows? Julie Stouffer never returns again.
I'm okay with it, honestly, at this point.
I think we'll talk about her a little bit more when we get to Mount Rushmore. So
All right.
putting a pin on that. But this is Julie's last season of the challenge. Your boy Timmy Beggy, 1 more challenge to go, 3 seasons from now. So he'll be back one more time. Anissa, not going anywhere. She's back in 2 seasons. Katie is back next season. Still has 5 more to go in this run of hers, as does Robin. She has 6 more to go, but she's going to be off next season. Derek Kaczynski, 3 more seasons in this stretch of seasons consecutively, completing 6 in a row total, plus more that are going to come after that. Derek is the guy right now.
Yeah, I remember the first season that Derek wasn't on after like 6 or 7 seasons in a row of him being on, and I was like, "What?" Like, Derek was my number 1 at the time, and I was very pissed. Where I was like, "Okay, I don't know if everyone else is enjoying this as much as I am personally, but because this is no time off from Derek at all, but I'm enjoying it."
I mean, there's like a Tory Deal stand somewhere out there right now that's having the same moment that you did
Yep.
with this Challenge 41 we're watching.
That's so true.
Excuse me? Even on season 39, she was there. Let's talk about the rookies. Susie, after such a long break she just had, still has 2 more challenges to go. Next one will be 3 seasons from now. Jamie Murray, our 3-time champion here, never returns.
Yeah, and 3-time champion, about 0-time confessionalist. So poor Jamie, he got put on the wrong team, but apparently that was a blessing because he comes away
Indeed.
with, is it a perfect record for Jamie, 3 for 3?
I think so.
Look at Jamie.
Double check that, but I am pretty sure that's the case.
Look at Jamie. Honestly, good for him.
Yeah, 3 for 3,
Yep.
season 4, season 6, and then here in season 11. And what do we know about this guy? Not much.
It is the real world season is hard carrying what I know about Jamie.
Randy, of course, of Randy and Keena. Randy never comes back to the challenge.
I'm sad. I thought we had one more season of Randy. I find out that's not the case.
No, he's gone. I don't know anything about the future of him and Keena's relationship. I imagine they're not together.
Wow. Okay. No faith.
Are they?
I'm gonna go with no.
Randy and Keena, the challenge. Where are they now?
Keena comes back, so I think we'll get that answer.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm not seeing a whole lot.
I doubt it's even a Google search, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, it was the top search that like was popping up when I said the challenge W. Where are they now was the first one. But yeah, all right, we'll find out more when Keena comes back because she will be back one more time in 2 seasons from now. Ibis will be back one more time in 7 seasons from now.
Yeah, a long layoff for Ibis. It's very shocking, but I'm excited for the return nonetheless.
Yeah, I guess one of those like they figured they were done with her and then they called her one more time in 7 seasons and she's like, yeah, I'm free. And they were like, let's do it. Why not? Bring it back. The last person of this extreme group here, Jody, one more season, 2 seasons from now, but she's doing pretty good so far. Yeah.
That feels so crazy for Jody. Like only 3 seasons in her run, 4 seasons. Yeah, well, there's Battle of the Eras, but 3 seasons. I don't really count Battle of the Eras for like what was their run on the challenge type thing.
Yeah, no, the original run, of course, is just 3. MJ, this was his first season. He'll be back, of course, in 4 seasons, and then even still to this day with All Stars. Landon doing pretty well so far for himself, 2 for 2 as far as wins are concerned, and he still has 2 more challenges to go, but he won't be back for 6 more seasons, which, okay.
A little bit of time off.
A little bit of time off. And he gets some time off also from this reunion. Shark Infested Water, the Gauntlet 2 reunion, hosted by Susie Castillo, who I believe is a big name or was a big name from TRL. I was doing some Google searing.
I do not know. I was like, she was like, I'm Susie. And I was like, who? Yeah. You're not blonde. Yeah, I was a little confused.
On the rookie side of things, Jamie and his 3 championships don't get him an invite. Neither does Ibis, Landon, or MJ. The attendance list for the rookies is Alton, Randy and Keena, Cara and Susie, and Jody. So of course you got to get the alliance drama mixed in here.
I don't know if this was like who was invited or who bothered to show up because this was the weirdest list of people.
Yeah, the vets are missing Julie, Anissa, and Katie, but they have Derek, Beth, Timmy, Robin, Mark, and Brad.
Sure, why not?
Why not? Where should we start with happenings of this reunion? Of course, so much of it, 20 minutes of a show, a lot of clips, but still some worthwhile moments.
Yeah, there was some good ones. I would say that a lot of them are kind of stuff that we touched on, but can we talk about the hookups?
We absolutely can. Which ones caught your attention?
Apparently Montana and Jamie were hooking up.
Yeah.
What?
And then Jamie was then hooking up with Cara at some point, and that pissed off Montana. Maybe I'm mixing up Cara with the Brad situation. I don't remember.
I think that might be the case.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Jamie and Montana. Look at that.
Yeah. Okay, sure. It's an interesting one. I would not have guessed that. I definitely didn't remember. I don't know if I've never seen this reunion. I almost missed it because I was like, does this exist or not? But No, we do have it here. Finding out these hookups was quite interesting. I didn't really understand where they kind of interject, and it's like Susie told people about it, and then Kara makes a joke about it being a threesome, and I'm like, what happened? I'm
Yeah.
confused.
We also had this is crazy for your modern challenge fans to hear, but a clip of Derek and Anissa waking up in bed entangled together. And so I guess at this point, Anissa is identifying as a lesbian. I believe to this day, I think she is a little bit more fluid with her sexuality and how she expresses or how she identifies. But at this point, they're all making jokes about Derek hooking up with the lesbian.
Yeah, a little confusing because it seems like Alton also says he was dodging kisses from Anissa when he woke up, which not the best look for Anissa if that's the case.
Scandalous.
I
Derek
mean,
says he just likes having all the girls around him.
I would say more than scandalous if he's asleep and she's trying to kiss him. So I don't think that's probably what they meant, but it's played off as a joke. So, and he says it like it wasn't a hookup; it was more of a random. Doesn't finish the sentence, and I was like, what is going on here?
Mm-hmm. To circle back, you made the comment before about Timmy eating Julie's.
Ugh,
yeah.
We
But
need
you
to.
missed like the best part of that when he says, "I guess I'm by default now. Now I'm a Mormon."
Yep. We do find out that the night before the eating challenge, that Mark says that he and David had the stomach flu the night before. He couldn't even get down a dry piece of toast. It's like, well, then why did you go all in on the eating challenge?
Mm-hmm.
I'm confused. Why didn't you do this for memory?
Oh, these vets—they make the best decisions, don't they?
Which I mean, I guess at that point the problem is like you can't forfeit 2 out of 3. Like it's mathematically impossible. So I don't know.
Yeah. Derek, is Beth still the meanest person you've ever met? She's close to it. He says. He makes like he's mocking her while saying that she takes pleasure in looking at the camera when in the middle of drama that she's starting. So like he's like doing a whole performance of like, hey, Robin, did you hear about Mark and Jody? Looks back at the camera. They were hooking up and Jody's upset about it. And Beth is laughing. She's like, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yep. She does. She knows that she's stirring. She's a little bit of the producer for the challenge before Bananas.
Very much so.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep jumping all around here, but the TJ segment was fucking wild.
Oh, TJ.
Oh,
TJ and Cyrus apparently almost did the beach brawl of their own.
This is my jaw was on the ground. Like we've seen TJ get involved plenty of times verbally, going back and forth with the challenger, giving them a hard time about quitting, not performing, anything like this. And so, when he comes out at the reunion, itself, he's like making a joke about how Mark is retiring. He's like, I thought I told you to quit a long time ago. Haha. And then all of a sudden they drop this unseen footage on us of TJ and Cyrus at the elimination that Cyrus is facing off against Derek. And at one point, TJ is telling Cyrus to quit yelling at him because Cyrus was all fired up about how that elimination was going. And TJ utters the words, I think you fucking, I don't know what the last word is, but both of the last 2 words got bleeped out. So whatever he said was bleepable, bleep worthy. Cyrus turned around and looks at him like, what the fuck did you just say to me? He says, I am a grown ass man. You don't want to do that with me.
Yeah. I wonder if in a weird way, this is what solidified the job for TJ.
It had to. I mean, they were nose to nose. Timmy Beggy had to jump into the gauntlet to break them up and keep them apart.
I want to know what he said.
TJ's like, I would have won the fight.
He's like, I had some speed on him.
I still cannot believe I saw that. Like, what on earth? And just like another comment on TJ, fashion check here. He's got the shorts that are like down to his ankles. He's got the t-shirts that are like down to his knees. It's funny. It's great.
They're coming back.
Are they?
Oh baggy 90s clothing. Yeah. 2000s.
What else? Apparently, Anissa and Kara were fine after that big blow up that they had at the Gauntlet, so that didn't go anywhere.
Anissa was like, I don't even know what I was thinking.
Nobody does. They talk about Joe and her big freak out, I guess, and Brad's talking about, of course, same thing that we knew. She's out of her element, all this stuff. And of course, Danny's thing gets brought up as well. Apparently, he had a big medical situation afterwards, so Jody called him to check on him, and he said, "Why are you calling me?"
Yeah. The the only other thing I think that's worth note is there's talk of like the alliances where Beth was talking about how it's a popularity contest. Brad is trying to clear his name in all of this. And the only thing that really stands out for me is it's annoying how like Mark especially is like, it's not fair to call what we do an alliance. It's just we've been friends for a really long time. We all have an agreement not to say each other's names, and we're gonna do whatever we can to protect each other, and we're gonna vote out everyone else besides us. It's not an alliance though. We're just friends.
It's so weird. I mean, we're doing the same thing, Miz and Abram did a season or two ago. By the way, what a nice break we have from Abram here.
Yep.
But yeah, it's the same thing. It's just like we're all just tiptoeing around the idea of an alliance. And it's like Survivor is firmly like done it by now, right? Like I know that they're probably not sitting at home, paying full attention to it. And the conversation's going to evolve so much as the years go on about the alliance that started things off, but it's still so taboo.
But the thing is, especially, it's like, Mark, you know you're retiring. Like, why do you care? Like, just let it go.
True. And Brad brings up, the Beth Julie Cyrus alliance. I'm like, what was that going to intimidate you on? Come on.
Iconic.
Susie talking about, again, there's 4 of you girls from the same season. So again, me and Kara coming up with an alliance or try doing anything to keep ourselves safe. Like it shouldn't have been seen as that crazy.
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
The Kina versus Kara was still very much an active feud.
Yeah, I just don't think that's gonna die. I don't think they're ever on a season together again. They definitely are not, actually, but very iconic in my mind regardless.
Yeah. If we are ever getting another All Stars rivals, please call them. I want to know what the update is. I'm sure they're fine.
I feel like they would be like, why are we together? Like, huh? I don't remember this at all.
Oh, come on. I'll refresh them. We got a whole thing this season.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, nothing else on the Robin, Mark, and Jody. It just seems like no one cares anymore. So I guess why should we?
It just is the situation of Robin's like, yeah, we're cool, we're best friends. I'm a cool girl. Don't worry about it. He can go whatever he wants. So it's like, ugh.
Yeah. Shall we rank this season?
Let's rank it.
All right. Tell me where you're thinking. We have now 10 seasons to throw this season into the mix with. Where are we going to go?
Okay. Well, let's say this. Do you want to start from the bottom or the top?
It's so hard for me to say the bottom because I feel like a lot of what we're looking at the bottom are like the seasons before we really get to like what the challenge is. It's not all that, but I feel like I usually look towards the top when I'm doing it myself.
Okay. Well, the Inferno. Is the Gauntlet 2 better than the Inferno?
No.
No, it's not. Is it better than the Inferno 2?
Also no, in my opinion.
Definitely not.
No.
Is it better than Battle of the Sexes?
Again, I think I'm going to say no.
I'm also going to say no. I think that it is one that stands out in my head as something I really enjoyed as a kid. But I think that's these 20-minute episodes where you have a challenge and an elimination, like competition, not just a deliberation. It's a little too fast paced. I think that Battle of the Sexes, if I were to like rewatch both another time, I might end up coming away enjoying the Gauntlet more. Like the Battle of the Sexes might just because I had such little memory of it that I enjoyed it. But for now, I have Battle of the Sexes above Gauntlet 2.
Yeah, no, I do too. Because then I was kind of looking at the space between Battle of the Sexes 1 and 2 as where I figured this season would land for me, at least. So now we're at that point. And it's tough because, now after Battle of the Sexes, we have Challenge 2000, Road Rules All-Stars, the original season. And then we have, your Battle of the Seasons, Battle of the Sexes 2. And I think we put those a little bit lower because they were, just a little less exciting overall. There was a little less story going on, which makes me like, my gut say that I would probably put Gauntlet 2 over Battle of the Seasons and Sexes 2. Do you feel similarly? Or
100%.
Okay.
And All Stars for me.
And All Stars. Yeah, no, it's got to be above All Stars. Again, it's just like so weird having like the seasons mixed together of like completely different format and current format, but it's, I can get there.
I agree.
So
for
we're just
me,
talking
it's
2000.
Yeah, Challenge 2000 or Gauntlet 2. Where are you feeling?
So what do we have this season? We have Joe, we have Cameron quitting. Took some notes earlier. We got Danny versus Jody. Beth and her entire arc as captain. Your boy Ace gets some more time. We have the alliance drama. Derek's whole season arc. Randy and Keena for those that partake in caring about them. So there's plenty going on. Plenty of drama. Probably for me, it goes above Challenge 2000. What do you think?
I am good with that. I was trying to decide how much am I giving to nostalgia? How much am I going to say that I enjoyed something because I remembered it less and thus it was exploring it for almost the first time? But I think Gauntlet 2 still comes out slightly ahead for me.
Yeah, which is so fantastic because the Gauntlet won at the bottom of our rankings right now. So glad the sequel outsold the original by a lot.
Exactly.
I have the confessionals count open. If we want to take a quick check-in on that before we get to the season's Mount Rushmore. Not a whole lot that you would be surprised about over there. Our captains pretty much dominating at the top of the list. Derek with 61 confessionals, Alton with 55, Keena with 44. And then you have Timmy 38, Julie 38, Beth 38, of course, another captain. Anissa, that's the top of the list. Down at the bottom, for those who made it deep into the season, Jamie Murray has one more confessional than Adam Larson.
Literally someone that goes home episode 1.
Katie, unfortunately, 2 more confessionals than Adam Larson.
Kate, that is legitimately a crime.
Yep.
Katie with 13 confessionals in 17, 18 episodes. That's horrific.
You also have Landon closer to the bottom with 18, Robin with 19, Ibis with 19, and then, kind of everybody else somewhere in the middle. It's really just what the hell is going on with Katie that far down, and why is Jamie still being brought back to the show if we just don't care about him? But we already kind of went over that.
Yeah. So let's do this season's Mount Rushmore.
We should do the season's Mount Rushmore.
I agree.
This one, I think, is going to be a lot easier for us than last season. Last season was the Tanya and the Mean Girls, and it was the Mean Girls deliberation of, do we put them all on there? Figured that all out. I feel like there's plenty of stories to pick from this time. It's just which ones do we value the most?
I would say that for me, it's a pretty definitive top 5.
I think I have a pretty definitive top 4, so I'm down to discuss whoever that 5th person is when we get there. But let's kick things off. I don't know, throw out a name. I'm
gonna say this is Derek's season.
Yep. In whatever order, it makes sense to go in. Derek definitely a huge role in the season, leads it with confessionals, and just from the beginning of him taking out Adam in that first confessional, going all the way to the end, or I should say not going all the way to the end, having this Derek's funeral moment of people are distraught that he didn't make it to the finish line. It's a big journey for that one person.
Yeah. When I think of Gauntlet 2, I will always think of this is Derek's season. It is the solidifying of him as an underdog in challenge lore, history, the meta. This is Derek. This is his spot. And I think that he deserves the top spot on the Mount Rushmore. And then there's one more person I will think of whenever I think of Gauntlet 2.
Would that be Beth?
It would not be.
Okay, well, spoiler alert for somebody else in my top 4. Well, can we talk about Beth before?
Sure.
I guess moving along so we don't spoil anything else. Is Beth in your top 5?
Yes.
Okay. Well, if she's not in your definitive, is she in your definitive 4 or?
I haven't locked in the 4. For me, I felt pretty strongly about the number 2, and then I was a little bit in between on the 3 personally.
So your number 2 is probably Keena.
It's not.
What?
She's in my other 3. That is not who I think of when I think of Gauntlet 2.
Now I am fully giving away my top 4.
That's fine. That's another person in my top 3. I totally agree. Keena has a great season, but I would like to discuss her all at the same time as the other 3.
Why don't you just give me a name?
I'm going to go with Joe.
That's your definitive 2?
Yes.
Okay, we have to come back to that one.
When I think of Gauntlet 2, it is Joe. Like that is the moment of the season for me. I think that definitively I will always think of this as like, oh, that was that one season that Joe did and she went absolutely bananas. Like, yeah, that's it.
See, my situation with Joe that I'm gonna have a hard time with is the fact that we didn't put Baloo on, because it's very similar for me that, I think back to that season and I think of the season that, Baloo brought her baby, and like that is a defining part of the season. But what we ultimately ended up going with was people who had bigger storylines that lasted the entire rest of the season. And I feel
Sure.
like that's the case here as well. So that's why I'm going to have a hard time locking Joe in.
For me, there were not strong enough storylines this season to automatically knock her out in the way that there were with Baloo. We went back and discussed kind of like who would you knock off for Baloo, and we didn't have an answer. Whereas I'm pretty comfortable knocking other people off for Joe.
Well, the answer again
You
would have been Coral. Like that's who we were debating between. It was Coral versus Blue, and then we decided on Coral
Yeah, and
at
I
the
still
time.
agree with that decision.
Right. But so okay, well then let's put a couple more people on the board that we
Sure.
can firmly agree on before we get to Joe. I will. So let's start with Keena or Beth, the two other names I threw out.
When I think in my heart of hearts of who should be on this, I think both of them should be on here.
Okay, yes. I do too. As I might with the other name, but I guess we'll get back to them. Um,
Okay.
I would say honestly, I feel more strongly about Beth, which is why I said her name first.
Sure.
Just the arc that she has, throughout the middle of this season, once she begins being an important presence. It really is just like Beth defining. This is her best season as far as her not going home super early. Compared to, I don't know, season 2, where she's there the whole time, but she's injured. And it's just like this character kind of stuff here. She's really like mixing it up with the rest of the people on her team. There's stakes involved where she is the captain of their team. They are, trying to get rid of her, and there's just so much more going on to further this story of this villainous character that has already been created over the course of the first 10 seasons, but really like we are spending some time with her here now. So for me, I'm going to always think of her and her ultimate quit on this season when I think of Gauntlet too.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think that Beth is a very large part of this season. I think that her story is very important. I think that it is very funny to think back on. I don't have any problems with Beth being here.
Okay. So then we seem to agree on Keena.
I
Now
agree.
you're the bigger Keena boy, I would say.
I would say that that's definitely true. I was watching this, all in the real time. The Road Rule season that Kina was on in the real time. I've always enjoyed Kina. I think that I was worried that she would not get a highlight season in the same way that I had remembered, but I think this is pretty good as far as a highlight season. I think that Kina is good competitively here. She has a relationship. She has drama on the team with Susie and Kara, with Jillian ultimately picking her, like her picking Jillian, with having the struggle of whether or not she throws in EPs. I think this is a good highlight season for Kina. Not to say that her next season will not also be, but I'm very happy with Kina landing on the Mount Rushmore here.
Yeah, she gets the captaincy right off the bat from Joe when Joe leaves, and so she is. It's her story the whole way through. We again check in with the Kina and Randy relationship just so much more often than is probably necessary. You laid out some reasons earlier as to why it probably made sense for the show to be doing that at this as well. In just addition to her being a captain and someone so highlighted, but she goes into however many eliminations she goes into. And we're just telling the story of the rookies team through her and Alton. We'll get to Alton and discuss him in a second, but we agree that she belongs in one of these spots. So
Yep.
there's Kina. All right. Well, then you mentioned Joe. For me, the other person would be Alton. Is that the other person in your
Yes,
5?
it is.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's a clear top 5 for me. I think that Alton is the other person with an overarching story throughout the entire season. I think that he has some good moments, but it's a little bit of we kept other people off because all they had was a showmance, and a little bit of all Alton has is the showmance. There's some captain stuff there, but it wasn't standing out to me in the way that Joe will live rent free in my brain for the rest of my life. But I see the merits of Alton on here, obviously.
I I wish we had a tiebreaker here because I think I feel really firm about Alton. But I
Okay.
feel like you feel firm about Joe.
Look,
Um,
I think let's put Alton on.
okay.
If, Mel or Chappelle or anyone comes in here and tells us that Matt LaGuardia was definitively very wrong, then we can
It's
always
often.
readdress.
Yeah.
But
I'm just
I,
like the season as a whole, right? I mean, we
sure.
17 episodes. I totally understand, in the same way that I'm going to bring up Lou 1,000 times when we're talking about this kind of discussion that yes, like people that have these show defining moments, so early on, they yes, like they are people that you think of when you think of this season, but it's just when someone like an Alton is the face of the rookies team alongside Kina, team captain all the way through. Yeah, it's a little bit of like a more quiet story for him because we're dipping into the him and Jody thing, but we're still getting more of a story than a lot of other guys on his team. And there's other people out here, your Timmys and Marks, and or maybe not Mark, Timmy or David, that are even more highlighted on the vet side of things. But because they're not captain, you don't feel like you're watching the season through their lens. We check in with Alton once an episode when it's a guy's elimination day. So I just feel like it would be, a disservice to him to not let him take a spot.
I never feel like I'm watching the season through Alton's lens. For what it's worth, I don't think that they present that well in the editing. I would say that Coral on season 5 has a much stronger storyline than Alton does here, and that's why it was a debate with Baloo. I mean, we put Puck on, who was on a pretty small portion of Battle of the Sexes when it comes down to it. It's just I agree that, like, yeah, Baloo was a big part, but for me, she was still number 5. Whereas like there will be other competitors, including Joe, who have very short storylines that I think are very impactful, and I don't want to rule out that they can ever be on just because we didn't put Baloo one time.
That is fair. I'm not thinking of others at the moment, so it's hard for me to
Sure.
be able to look ahead and feel the same way. But I
Yeah.
understand. So we're saying Alton for now, and if Mel wants to sway us back in the other way, we'll reconsider. Okay,
works for me.
sounds good. You see my little stats on the sheet here. Through the 10 seasons we've had so far, on the Mount Rushmore by season, it's been 10 men total and 30 women.
That's wild. If I had my way, it'd be more women.
It's now 12 men and 32 women. And
Yes.
This is now the 3rd season that it's been an even split, 2 men, 2 women.
That's so funny. I really enjoy that stat. I am happy to check in with that as we go.
I love stats, as you know. All right. All-time men's and women's Mount Rushmores. We usually start with the men. Doing the same here.
Perfect.
Now there's, I would say, an obvious name that at least needs to be discussed.
Sure.
I think we would probably both know who that is. Do you think there's more than one name to discuss?
No.
Okay. So we're obviously discussing if Timmy Beggy gets a spot here.
Exactly.
Yes, he should.
I wish.
So funny. He's
I love that you love Timmy. Like, you coming around to love my childhood favorites is so satisfying for me. Where I feel like I would say these names a year ago, and you'd be like, "Yeah, I guess they existed, sure." And then now you're like, "I stand all the same people you do." I'm like, oh, I'm so validated.
I mean, standable men in the challenge are hard to come by, and if there's anything I should know about today, I'll be devastated for Timmy. But
I've just been quietly incepting you all year to be standing like Timmy and Eric and David.
I don't know if I'm standing Eric yet, besides appreciating the value of what he brings to the show. And David is just very handsome.
We'll get you on Blair eventually.
Maybe a 2nd season would have helped, but all right. So if we're talking about Derek Kaczynski and his value of being added, I guess if it had nothing to do with who he would be replacing, do you feel like he's ready to jump on?
I've debated this in my head because I'm not going to lie, I have a pretty decent memory of most of the challenge seasons from here on out. And so I sat down at one point and just looked at the list and I was like, yeah, I think I could pretty much map out how I think the Mount Rushmore is going to go from now on. And in my brain, this is where Derek goes on.
I feel like Chappelle put you up to that project.
No, but it was discussed a little bit. It was maybe me bringing it up and he was there.
That tracks. Unfortunately, know you both too well. So this, you're saying you feel like this is where Derek goes on.
So in my brain, that was the case. Now, watching the season, part of me feels like Derek needs a little bit more time in the incubator. Like we need to marinate a little bit more with Derek. And then the other part of me finds a very nice spot for Derek to go.
Okay. I'll be interested to hear what that spot is because I do think this is a good time to put him on.
Okay.
Just like in general, as we have talked about plenty of times, this men's side has been a little bit more like open in where a spot can be found. And like generally, I feel like just my thought looking at the board right now for the men's side is the only person I don't think I'm ready to touch yet is Miz. Everybody else, I'm somewhat open to the conversation. And when it comes to Derek and his 3-season arc, with this one being so important and impactful, I feel like it was more in this one season, plus what he's had behind him already to this point, that might even put him above all three of them, in a sense. Eric, of course, has the historical, like long tenured angle that may be hard for him to topple. Mark also a little bit of that. I might be looking at Darrell.
See, this is the problem and why I did not want to put Darrell on what we did, because I thought this conversation would come very soon and I was not ready for Darrell to just be like on and on. And so it to be so willy-nilly. And so I was a little bit concerned that we would come in here and have Darrell lose his spot so quickly.
Well, let me just I'm totally, fine with if Darrell is, back on next season and there's reason to put him back on, get him right back on there. Again, of course, as always, like the point of this is to go season by season and say like at this point today, right now, what does it look like? And so I think Darrell definitely could pop back on.
Now,
but good.
Here's the story in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Mark makes a show at the reunion of he is passing his bandana to Derek. And I kind of think Mark should pass his Mount Rushmore spot to Derek here too.
Ooh, I like a good story.
It's a good story.
I like a good narrative. I really do. Yeah, I mean, I said I think it's not Miz. I do think at this point, even though I've been there was a time I was like, get Eric Nice out of here. The longer Eric stays here, the longer I say to myself, like, it really needs to be a good, worthwhile pick to knock him off. So I kind of look past him a little bit. I obviously just mentioned Darrell, thinking that, maybe it makes sense for him. I really like the story of what you just said. And I think that would be...
Come on, do it.
That would be good. But
I gave you Alton.
Like, I just want to make sure like that feels correct to us because,
me,
Mount Rushmore, looking at the legends and the history behind these people, like Derek taking Mark's spot and then Darrell still here, meaning that Darrell is now seen as overall less important than Mark Long to the franchise, feels weird.
Mark was a 0 on this season. It contributed nothing. Like literally nothing. The sun has been setting on Mark for some time now. And honestly, he's been on too long.
I wonder if we're like, just kind of like merging ideas by doing this though, of like Mount Rushmore versus faces of the franchise. Is that like current faces of the franchise? Because of course now the sun's setting on Mark and Derek takes that spot easily. But Mount Rushmore is like the old guys that are like carved in history.
Yeah, I was looking at it kind of as the not total face of the franchise because I don't want people to just like fall immediately. Like, okay, it's not going to just be like, oh, and now the Mount Rushmore is Nerys, Michelle, Olivia. Like, that's not happening right now. Like, we're not knocking on people. But I'm kind of ready to lose Mark, and I like the story a lot.
Okay, let's do it, and we'll give the same kind of idea. Perfect. That if Mel bounces back to us and disagrees, we'll consider changing things later. Because I also do like the story a lot, and Mark kind of set himself up for that. And going forward, he did. Going forward, like Mark is going to be back 2 more times. I don't think either of those 2 times are going to be him taking his spot back. So this kind of does feel like we could be closing the book on Mark on the Mount Rushmore. But the spot that he takes up here, as we look at our chart, makes sense for the history of the show and his role in it.
Yeah, I agree.
So, All right. Barring decision changes from, we'll throw Chappelle in there as well if he hears this and changes our minds at all. But I don't know. Maybe you've consulted him.
Yeah.
Barring
No, I have.
Mel and Chappelle influence,
It's
Miz.
something
Yeah, got it.
that came to me watching the reunion. So I
Okay.
have not discussed it with anyone. If there is an outcry from the listeners, we will listen sometimes.
Well,
But yeah,
Darrell again is the 3-time champion here. So is Jamie Murray. Do we have to put
that's true.
Jamie Murray on there?
I don't
Okay.
personally.
Who else? Well, so the rookies here, in theory, none of them should be. Oh no, Landon's now a 2-time champion. I'm keeping track on my little list. So Landon makes it up to the 2-timers. Jamie makes it up to the 3-timers, and I think that's all of movements here. Jody did not win her first season, right?
Nope.
No.
She went home.
So
Alton loses that final with Coral, right? So
yes.
yeah.
Okay. If missing something, that's okay. All right. Miz, Darrell, Eric Nice, and Derek.
I like
Kaczynski. Current men's Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. I like it. I'm willing to hear feedback, but I felt like it was too good to pass up on.
All right. I am not against it. Let's keep on moving into the all-time women's Mount Rushmore. Currently stands as Julie, Tanya, Coral, Veronica. You considering I should ask anybody?
Yeah, let's put Joe on here.
Stop it.
I am.
Knock it off.
I'm
you are considering one person.
Yes.
One or two?
One.
I'm also considering one person. Who would that be?
That'd be Beth for me.
Yeah. Yep.
I think Beth is back.
Is Beth back, or are we talking if she's back? Or are you like locked in feeling like she's back?
This is how I feel.
Yes.
I think the sun has come back around. It's set at one point. We were going early eliminations. Beth was making a mark on the first 2 episodes, and then she was gone. I think Beth is back. I think this is a good season for Beth, where she's made her mark. She probably, honestly, could have been on the Mount Rushmore at points a little longer. I think, for me, not to get ahead of us, but at one point, Julie took Beth's spot. And I think that Beth should take her spot back from Julie.
I mean, I had a feeling that that's where you were looking, considering even last season you were trying to, swap Julie out of here.
Get Julie out.
to talk it out. Of course, it's going to come down to Julie or Tanya to get Beth back on this list. By the way, how long is Beth going to stay back on this list? We'll see. Pretty big era starting soon with fresh meat. We'll see how that goes. I don't know that most of the fresh meaters are going to jump right onto all-time Mount Rushmores, but there's a couple of vets there as well. So we'll see. Julie or Tanya? Tanya just got here, right?
Yes.
But she got here based on 4 seasons in the time so far. Very big story in the most recent 2 that she had been on, especially the Inferno 2. The whole season is based around her, and I guess a little bit of the face of the franchise discussion coming into play here. She certainly feels like one of those right now. She's going to be back a lot throughout the next couple of seasons, whereas, as you keep saying, with the sunsetting of it all, Julie is done. Julie is wrapped up here. No more challenges. She's had her big moments. I mean, she was put on the Mount Rushmore in Extreme Challenge for just that season. She stayed there the following season. Then we replaced her with Veronica. She came back in the Inferno, which of course is that's the season, right? With all of the the fighting, trying to fight Coral and Veronica and all that kind of stuff. So
when Julie was fun.
Crazy big moments there from quite the kooky character. We're ready to say goodbye to that.
I think you can lose your legacy by coming back and outstaying your welcome. And I think Julie has done that now 2 seasons in a row. Julie's boring. She's not doing anything for me.
Yeah, no, she hasn't had a lot going on in the past 2 seasons. So I guess you're painting a similar narrative as Mark has, of just there's not enough going on to maintain his spot, even though the history is there behind her.
I think the history is there to a degree, but for me, the history is also there for Beth and Tanya. I think that Julie has some real standout moments. I think Tanya and Beth have a more qualified resume at this point. I don't know if they have as big of standout moments as Julie, but for me, if this was like a moments Mount Rushmore, some of the Julie ones make it on. If it's a character one, she falls off at this point.
I am good with this.
Okay.
It's good. I mean, especially watching this season play out, Beth versus Julie, just watching them present what they offer to the show, back to back, right in front of the other. Obviously, Beth outshined Julie just with so much more story throughout the season than Julie could have even sniffed. And so if they are truly just having a battle between the two of them, yeah, Beth wins out here and just deserves to have a spot like this when it's available, when it's, I guess, even an option for herself to get one, because she's not always going to stick around long enough that we feel like this makes sense. So
agreed.
That just kind of leaves us here. So Beth, now for the third time, popping on to the challenge, all-time women's Mount Rushmore, replacing Julie. They, like you said, they've swapped before. They swap again, and there we go.
It's been good before. Like, don't get me wrong. You name like Julie, Katie, Coral, Veronica, really good. Julie, Tanya, Coral, Veronica, really good. Beth, Tanya, Coral, Veronica. Like, there are so many women on this show that could make a really good Mount Rushmore. I just think at this point, Beth has overtaken Julie for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she was here first. She had to take her spot back. And true. So there we go. All right. Well, Beth, Tanya, Coral, Veronica is where we are leaving things on the all-time women's Mount Rushmore. I usually, pull some names to tell you who we are getting to next season. I forgot to do that, but I can do it really easily by pulling up my spreadsheet. Are you ready for fresh meat?
I'm terrified.
Me too. We have Big Easy. We have a man by the name of Wes Bergman.
I'm sorry. Starting with Big Easy is crazy.
I'm going in alphabetical order based on their last names.
Get ready, guys. We have, wait for it, Big Easy.
Pick it up with my spreadsheet. Not a name that I think that's as big, but I know the name Johanna. Johanna,
yeah. No, Johanna's a big part of challenge history. The most popular real world season of all time is going to carry a lot of weight. This is the premiere season for 4 real world Austin members, and they're very important ones. It's 2 couples. I'm excited.
And that is Danny and Melinda, Wes and Nehemiah.
Nope. Johanna, you just named her.
Oh. Wait, which one of those names is Nehemiah not from?
Nehemiah's not here.
Nehemiah's in season 13. He was so close to the 12ers on my document. I should get a new document. Just kidding.
I also said 2 couples. So
I did.
No, you said Nehemiah, which had no couple with anyone, but that's fine.
I don't know what we're saying.
I was talking romantic couples. I think you were going with the friendship couple of Wes and Nehemiah.
I don't know what I was saying. We have debuting next season, of course, the legendary DM Brown.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
We have Casey Cooper, who's made quite a little run for herself over the show all the way to All-Stars. Ryan Kehoe. Stop me if we're getting too legendary. Evelyn Smith.
Oh, look at that.
Stop me if we're getting too legendary. Aviv. Okay.
All right, stop. No, we get Aviv on her first season, as well as 2 names who are going to be a big part of the next stretch, who often are not mentioned in challenge history at this point. Often those who shall not be mentioned specifically. Yeah,
we usually go with the names those who shall not be named or something of that variety. We're going to have a hard time doing that for 8 seasons.
No, we're definitely talking about them at this point.
Yeah, Kenny and Evan are debuting next season as well. So with this fresh meat format, just a lot of names that you as challenge fans likely know very, very well, starting with Big Easy and then going into Wes. I feel like our world is getting shaken upside down.
Yeah, between the 4 new Austin cast members and the fresh meat, like this is 12 faces of the franchise for the next 10 seasons.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
We talked about it already, but it really feels like, season 11 is more the conclusion of the first era of the show. And this is really about to send us into era 2. So we'll get to that in due time. But I think that will do it for today and for the Gauntlet 2 before we get to fresh meat, unless you have any final thoughts.
No, I'm very excited for fresh meat. I'm very nervous. I cannot wait. I feel like this is the most frequent point at which people tell people to like that are starting the challenge to start. So I'm very excited to see if we can go ahead and sign off on that, give that our full recommendation as this is the place to start your challenge watch.
Yeah. I am very, very excited. So we will be there in due time. In the meantime, of course, we are wrapping up this season, but doing all things Challenge 41 Vets and New Threats. If you are keeping up with that season in real time, make sure you are checking out every single thing we're talking about it on the main feed, as well as all of our weekly bonus episodes over on Patreon, patreon.com/The Free Agents Podcast. If you want all of our bonus episodes, plus early access to episodes, ad-free episodes, all of that good stuff over there. Join our patron group chat to chat with us about the current season, the rewatches, the Mount Rushmores, and all of these controversial decisions. Otherwise, check Scally out on all the things such as
such as the We Know Love Island podcast is probably over. Check out the Big Brother coverage, which I'm popping up on. Well, actually, we might be in freaking Love Island games at this point, so go check out We Know Love Island. Go check that out. Otherwise, anything I'm doing will be on Twitter at Brian_Scally, on Blue Sky at Brian Scally, and on Twitch at twitch.tv/bscally.
All right. And you can always check me out as well on the Diary Room podcast with Aman Adwin, talking through Big Brother history, talking through all different versions of the show, all different players. And by the time that you're hearing this, there should be a recent new episode with Brian Scally as a guest. So make sure you check that out if you want the crossover of it all. And otherwise, that's going to do it for today. We will be back very soon with fresh meat, if you can believe it. Until then, as TJ himself would say and does say, take care, and we hope to see you in the future.